Hello. I'm going to get on here real brief and talk about part two of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Um, I'm going to talk about 3 points God placed on my heart uh, for part two. And the first one is exposure, dysfunction, and coping in a healthy manner. Exposure is so necessary, it's so critical because it revealed the hidden things that you might not even want to deal with or anyone wants to deal with, but it's necessary. Exposure is critical to get into that place of healing because it's things that's hidden within us that we might not even be aware about. So you want to pray about the exposure, and it doesn't have to be publicly or anything. God will reveal it to you right before your face, and it's then your responsibility to take the next steps to deal with the exposure. Because if things are not exposed, that's hidden, there's no way you will know how to go about and navigate on getting to or getting better. So it's very necessary for exposure. Dysfunction. So many people live in dysfunction, and they choose to live in dysfunction because the enemy creates this. I guess like he makes people feel like it's better to live in dysfunction because they don't want to deal with the responsibility of cleaning things up and aligning things. But a lot of people live in dysfunction because it's better to just sweep it under the rug. That's not true. That's a lie. That's a lie. Dysfunction is key to why so many people are suffering right now because they don't want to deal with it. They want to hide it, which goes back to exposure. So many people live in dysfunction because they don't want to deal with the reality. They would rather feed the fairy tale than deal with the reality of a situation. Dysfunction is the key thing of a generational cycle that has to be broke, because when we're living in dysfunction, what we're doing is we're teaching our kids how to live in dysfunction. And it's a generational thing, and it continues and it continues and it continues because so many people want to hide their dysfunction. No, you gotta come in reality with it, because the sooner you deal with it, the sooner you will get to a place where you're starting to heal. And so many people would rather stay in dysfunctional relationships. They would rather, pretend like they happy. They would rather hide it, tell the kids not to say anything, don't talk about it. No. Dysfunction is the key thing I feel that so many people have hidden. Is a key thing to suicide, depression, anxiety, all of those things that people are suffering from so heavy right now. And I feel like it all starts with not dealing with the dysfunction in your life. The third point is coping in a healthy manner. Exposure is necessary. Back to exposure because it's hidden. It needs to be revealed. Dysfunction, you got to find out what is your dysfunction, what is going on, how is your house, is it functional or is it dysfunction? Dysfunctional. And then third, you have coping in a healthy manner. It's your choice. It's time to choose. How are you going to cope? Because when life hits, when everything hits, life doesn't stop. But you have to learn how to still balance coping and dealing with life at the same time, because unfortunately life doesn't stop. When trauma hits, life doesn't stop. When somebody passes, life doesn't stop. When you've been raped or you've been in an abusive relationship, life doesn't stop. But because life keep going, sometimes it's so much, it seems convenient and comfortable because you can just sweep all your dysfunction up under a rug or put makeup on, or I don't care how many degrees you get, I don't care how pretty you are. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how much you travel. At the end of the day, you still have to deal with you. And so many people don't want to deal with themselves or what's internally eating them up inside out. And like I said, in dysfunction, so many people would much rather feed into a fairy tale than deal with the reality. And it's killing our next generation. It's killing ourselves. Because if we're not even teaching our kids how to face their dysfunction, how to get out of it, instead of trying to pretend like everything is okay and putting makeup on and getting in front of cameras and smiling and, putting on, guess what? We're teaching our kids the same thing. So when you go ask your child what's wrong, all they doing is doing the same thing you do. They see you do in front of your friends. Oh, I'm okay. I'm good. When in all actuality, they're not. And you can't get mad at them because they only doing what they see you do. So when life doesn't stop, when you're hurting and trauma is hitting every part of your life and you're trying to cope, you got to stop and you got to ask yourself, because a temporary fix, that's just what it is. Because once that high is gone, it's back to reality. So when I say cope in a healthy manner, you need to learn how to write, rap, sing, anything. Write in a journal. You don't have to talk to everybody and tell them your business. But you need to find one person that you can talk to and they won't judge you, because that's part of your growth. That's part of your healing. So the top 3 things that I want to talk about in part 2 is exposure, dysfunction, and coping in a healthy manner for part 2 of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I pray that I could be a blessing to somebody, and I encourage you to don't give up. Just keep pushing, and I pray for true healing. Bye.